If anybody's ever flown across an ocean, you know that you're like locked in a seat for a long time, right? It's not a great position for a fitness coach to be in. And if you've ever flown from Australia to North America, you've probably flown on like Qantas or an airline like that, and you've probably been locked in that spot for even up to 23 hours. And so my story today is about a flight from Sydney straight through to Chicago. That's a 23-hour flight. I know, that doesn't actually happen. They take stops and stuff, but when the airplane took off, everybody settled in, everybody got all relaxed in their seats, they started to feel comfortable, you know, the pre-flight jitters were over, the kids were sitting quietly watching their iPads, and they were about, 5 hours out into the ocean, and the crew looks out over the cabin and sees, like, we got a sold-out flight here. There are hundreds of people from all different walks of life filling this airplane. It's completely sold out. There's not an empty space. And about 3 or 4 hours into this flight, it's time to serve the first meal. So the stewards go up to the, where they prepare the meal, the little kitchen. I think they call it a galley on an airplane. And they start getting ready to serve the food. And so the first steward, she gets up to the galley and she starts opening up the cabinets and opening up the fridges and opening up the ovens, and she can't find any food. Well, something's wrong here. So she calls, back to the aft cabin and says, hey, all the food must be back there. I don't have any up here. We're going to have to serve it all from the rear. And the steward in the back says, well, there's no food back here either. And they start to panic a little bit. And the chief steward says, okay, we're going to organize a search of the plane. The food has to be here somewhere. Where is it? So they start, sneakily looking under seats, and they're looking in the baggage part, and they're like, where the hell's the food? And finally, the chief steward says, well, I brought a sandwich for myself, and that's the only food on the whole plane. Uh-oh. So if you're the chief steward on this flight, and you're looking over these hundreds of people who need to be fed, and you have one sandwich, you're in a pretty bad spot. In fact, the only worse spot to be is to be the sandwich. And so the chief steward is looking at who's on this airplane and trying to figure out, like, okay, we're 4 hours into this 23-hour flight, who gets fed? We've got a full flight here. We've got old people who need to eat. We've got overweight people. Excuse the only overweight picture that I could find was Santa. I was like, who's the most overweight but yet attractive person in the world? And it's Santa. Overweight people who are maybe diabetic and need to eat so that they don't get sick. You've got babies on this flight. Who gets the sandwich? Anybody got any ideas? Oh, damn you guys. The pilot gets a sandwich.